Black Box Radio. We are in the box. This is the QueenDoM Series. This is a series we do every month for women, especially Black women. So I'm going to introduce myself, then we're going to jump into our special guests and kind of build this series out. But this is QueenDoM tonight. So, this is Sista Circle. The girls are in town tonight. That's what it's all about. So I'm Queen. I'm a host at Black Box Radio. We are a media platform for Black excellence. We platform Black people. We expose the world to Black genius, and we disseminate information to the Black community, to other communities, to and from the Black community. But more than anything, we humanize our experience as Black people in America. And so we put that on display 8 to 9 times a month. And we would appreciate, please subscribe to our website, which is blackboxradio.com. That's BLaKboxradio.com or Black Box Radio at YouTube. We have a YouTube channel also. So please hang out with us. Give us some suggestions. You can email us at blackboxradio@gmail.com. Just stay in touch. Link up, pull up, whatever it takes. But tonight, the Queen, this is like I love this series because, I'm Queen. This is QueenDoM Series, so I love this. So I got a queen here tonight. I have a special guest, Lady B, Bonnie. Is it Harrid?
Harrid.
Bonnie Harrid. Say hi to the people, Miss Bonnie.
Hey, Black Box. I'm in the box with the Queen tonight. I was invited, maybe 2 or 3 years ago?
I think about 14. About 14 years ago.
Oh, no, not that long. I finally accepted your invitation, so here we are.
And listen, I am so excited to have you because you're all over the community. Every time when I go out to something, who I see? Lady B. I was like, people say that no one gets around more than you. You are at all of the important stuff. So, every time I'm out and there's something really community, you're sitting there. I was like, Lady B is everywhere. Everywhere. But I first got acquainted with you is when you were on the Larry Young Morning Show. I remember that segment.
Yes. We were on for a good 5 years. And the initial reason Larry invited us to come on his show on a regular basis, because at that time, and we started in 2009, it was basically an all-male genre. There were very few female voices on talk radio networks, and we have talk radio across the nation. Yep. But Larry says, I want to add women to my show. So he asked me, and he asked Janice West, who's a realtor here in Maryland. She's made the national real estate #1 realtor in the nation twice.
Whoa.
She also asked Sybil Jones. Sybil Jones is now in Atlanta doing her thing, but she was the youngster of the group, and they nicknamed me the Mouth. I don't know why, but
I don't know. I don't have a reason why.
But Janice was known as the Wisdom, and each week we would take different topics. Larry more or less gave us our own range. Like he said, from 9 to 10 on every Wednesday. I want you girls in the studio, and y'all can discuss what you want to discuss. And for the most topics, most of it, we try to lean it toward women because we wanted women to listen, and then also to call in so that we would know that they're listening. So it worked out pretty good. We stayed on to 2014, and the segments were interesting because Larry told me I could be who I genuinely was, and I said, well, that's excellent because that's the only way I know how to be. And then when the audience found out that the Mouth was the gay one, they would come after me, or some would just ask questions, and I gave them the honest answer from my perspective, from my life, as the best as I could, especially since it was talk radio. You have to watch your mouth and watch your language, and sometimes conversations can get hot or get a little heated. But I remember to keep my composure and not go too far with it. But yeah, it was a good deal for 5 years.
Well, listen, this ain't talk radio. This is Black Box Radio. You say what you want. You can do what you want. So you don't have those restrictions. So we're going to talk about everything. But you brought up the gay one. So this is National Pride Month. Happy Pride.
Yes, happy Pride to you as well.
This is June. So, it was so important. That was another reason why I wanted you to come in, because This is now a national movement. It might have always been, I'm not sure, but we hear about it more. I think gay people have more agency than they've ever had, from what I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just want to talk about, that process, being Black, being a woman, being gay. How did all it? I mean, did you know all your life? Let's kind of delve into that a little.
Well, I wouldn't say I had the knowledge all my life, but
Mhm.
my first real recollection of being so attracted to a woman was in kindergarten.
Whoa.
And at that time, we would have story time, and you get your graham crackers and your milk, and you sit around in a little circle, and the teacher would read you a story. But for me, it was all about fighting to get up front because this lady, my teacher, who was Hispanic, had pretty fat, hairy legs. So that's the first recollection of me being
Oh my Lord.
desperate, yeah, to be closer to this woman than anybody else in the class. You know,
Mm.
when they say born that way, I believe it, But I didn't understand at the moment why I
Mhm.
was had to be the first one on the first row in the center right by the teacher. But the whole time she's reading the story, I'm looking at her legs.
Wow.
So I didn't relate it to being anything sexual. It was just something in my little 5-year-old mind that I needed to see that lady's legs when she read the story. So I don't think I've ever really uh, been closeted
Okay.
because I've always been authentically myself.
Okay.
And as far as my family, I think my mother had this rule. We all had long, thick hair, and you're not allowed to cut your hair until you make your own money. So when I got my first neighborhood youth corps job, my first paycheck, I went to the barber shop. And the gentleman said, "Well, how would you like your hair cut?" I said, "See that guy just got out your kid chair?" I said, "I want my hair cut like his." And I don't think it was a image thing. It was a comfort thing because the hair was always a job. As you see now, I'm short haired because I don't want to work with all that thick hair. And the older I
I
get,
think
the less.
we're in the same barrel.
Yeah, so when I put the key in the door, my mom would start screaming. She didn't even recognize her child. Said, "Oh, somebody coming in here with a key." I said, "Hey, wait a minute, it's me. I need you." So I started to get comfortable in my body, comfortable in who I was and how I wanted to appear at
Okay.
about 16 or 17 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think I've ever really thought that my sexuality needed to be hidden from anybody because it's really a personal thing. Nobody knows what you do behind closed doors. They assume, if you look away, they think you're this, and if you do
Mm-hmm.
something, they think you're that. But nobody really knows who you are but you and God. That's who you work it out with, you
That's so
know.
true.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so true. That's a way of looking at it. And we always, I think society, because we live in a society that uses labels for everything.
Hmm.
When we explain people, we don't say they're 5'8". The first thing we say they're Black, they're white, they spent, we gotta box them and explain like what it is or what they see. And I think a lot of times we use that across the board when we see people. It's all about putting people in a box. So you might not know someone's sexuality, but you look at their mannerisms or maybe the way they dress, and you put them somewhere because we've been, I think, kind of channeled to that.
Yeah,
You
to
know what I'm
categorize
saying?
everything has to be in a category.
Yeah, everything got to be categorized, and some things don't have to be categorized. How about that?
You
You
shouldn't.
know,
They shouldn't.
and they shouldn't. They
Especially
should.
if you're minding your own business.
Oh,
If you're minding your own business, why you gotta categorize what's going on in my life?
you better know that. Did y'all hear that? That's the quote of the day. If you minding your own business, why you got to know what's going on in my life?
Don't have to know. That's
That
why
I
some
love
folks are so busy being nosy and trying to manipulate
that. Mm-hmm.
somebody else's excuse me activity.
Mm-hmm.
But if you spend time on yourself, you get a better deal.
That's true. That's true. And but you know what, Lady B, I just thought this conversation is so important because we as Black people, we want in our mindset, and not all Black people. Please, this is not general, but I know
Hmm.
a lot of Black people. They don't want to hear about no gay. I don't want to hear nothing about homosexuals because that's not natural to African people. That's white people stuff. You know, I hear this stuff all the time. As if the first people on earth were white people.
Really?
I want to know where we get these stuff from. Like, if the first people was on earth was white people, I believe it, but they're not the first people on earth. And second of all, they are 17% of the world population. So most of the world is what? Colored.
Color of some form.
Of some form.
If you have sense enough to read the Bible, and I look at all these images they portray of Jesus, his hair was as wool.
Yep.
His skin was as copper. That's not a white man. That's not
like me. Shoot, I ain't Jesus, y'all. But it sound like me to me.
You know, we got to stop believing the fake rules and the fake information.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because we have to understand that Black people are in every group. They're in every part of the world. We are, our path is everywhere. And so we cannot put in our mindset that we only celebrate certain people or only certain people need platforms, because we're uncomfortable. And usually where you're uncomfortable is where you most learn something.
And then your uncomfort comes from a lack of knowledge.
So that's why you need to learn something.
Right. You need to learn.
My king and my queendom this month and my king this month are gay. And I did that because I wanted history on their experience. And this is a National Pride Month. We want to escalate and say we love you guys, but we definitely want to hear from someone who's actually in the community, like what you're seeing, what's going on with Pride, and because they're having a big celebration this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, for Pride. They had last week or 2 weeks ago, Trans Pride. Oh my goodness, they took over Charles Street. I mean, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I said, wow, these people are everywhere. And it's amazing that they're coming together. They're celebrating themselves. What do you think about that as a Black woman?
Well, as a Black woman, and especially in Baltimore, like you said, we don't have the avenues or the exposures that we should have to be represented in the population. But we do our own thing. We do our own thing quietly, you know. Because when I was coming through in my teens and my 20s, there were a few little bars you could go to, and you know, little nightclubs you could go to. And
what's the name? Drop some names of them bars.
I used to be in the Lucas Lounge on Emerson Avenue like crazy.
Okay.
That was owned by Paulette Lucas's father. And then I was at Alexander and Wolf Street. They had a club down there. I think it was, I don't remember the name. It was a white club, but you know, we took over eventually. And then a lot of my partying, I just went straight to DC. Once I started driving and getting around and going in DC and meeting people, that was the party town for me. Because a lot more entertainment and venues were directed towards people of whatever you were. They didn't care if you were gay, straight, trans, or whatever. But they did have a lot of gay clubs. Especially, there was a club at 13th and Upshur called the Clubhouse. You had to know somebody to get inside. They didn't open till 2, and they didn't close till 7 in the morning. So
sound like my spot.
It's more like an after-hour club, you know, to go to for comfort and, you know, be yourself. And they had a lot of music. I actually saw the lady who used to sing with Patti LaBelle. Oh wow, she had a record out, and she performed there in DC. So yeah.
So you moved around a little.
A little bit. I moved around a lot after I started to work and, you know, be more independent, have my own car. And I worked for the state for about 12 years at unemployment. And a lot of those years I lived right up the street on Utah Street, you know. Yeah. So I was out and about, and at the same time, I think I mentioned it to you, I was still trying to be connected to the community, because we had a group called Act Up, and we used to do food giveaways. We started a petition to create rent control in the state of Maryland. That didn't go over, and I still cry about it every time I pay my rent every month.
Because people now wish that went over, because look what we're going through now. Rent is out of control.
It was a good 3 years of us beating the pavement and, you know, putting the motion in paper to if we had the signature to try to propose it as a law, but it didn't go. People, sign petitions. I don't, So I've always been community minded, especially since I realized I'm a part. I might be a little clog in the community wheel, but it's my community. So if
Yep.
I want to see change, I got to be change.
That's it. I love
Yeah.
that. You see change, you got to be changed.
And that's what I
Okay.
find you see me.
So you know what I'm hearing, and someone else was on, and they said this that yesterday. They were saying like there's a lot of discrimination in the gay community between black and white, and is that true? Because that to me doesn't make sense.
It's kind of true, and I don't know if it's strictly because of the black and white thing. I think it's more of a social
More of a
type
social
thing.
thing.
Yeah, because we're not in the same circles most of the time. And I think once the hippo closed, there was no crossing the lines. You know what I mean? Because that was a multiracial club.
Okay.
They didn't care if you were black or white as long as you came in and behaved yourself.
So the hippo that's on Charles Street. Well, it was on Charles Street.
Sunday tea dance. We lost Odell's. If you belong at Odell's.
Yeah,
So
when I came here, Odell's was closed already.
oh man, those were the
Yeah, I didn't never experience Odell.
Monday night was gay night. Thursday night was college night, which to me was also gay night. Then, then on Saturday there was a club at Lafayette and Charles. I don't remember the name of that club either, but that was years ago. So here and there,
Is that the Paradise? That wasn't Paradise. Paradox, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Paradox was there, wasn't it? Yeah, that Paradox was here. It was on the second floor when I came here. So you went to the Paradox, okay, and then it moved.
Dance,
So you know the spot. You got around this spot. Now I'm watching you.
Well, when you're single, you get ready to mingle.
Ooh.
And I like to mingle.
I saw that. Okay.
All in DC. I went to a couple of trips with some girls from DC to Virginia for party weekends and that kind of thing, So that's why I say for the racial divide, I think it's more of a social activity type thing. And it may even come down to what kind of music you like. They're not going to want to jump when we jump. Some people like black hip hop, some people don't, So I don't really think it's too much racial because if any bars you go in, especially the male gay bars, you're going to see some black people. Some black people are going to be in there.
That's okay. So that's how it is.
Yes.
Oh, that's how it is. Okay, so the Pride celebrations.
Like if you go to other cities, like in Richmond and in New York, you would not notice in a gay bar if you would think it was a black-owned establishment or a white-owned establishment because it's targeted to enjoyment and doesn't care what race you are. As long as you can come in and enjoy what's there, then they don't mind. So it's kind of like a Baltimore thing. I think that it keeps being segregated.
Okay. Is that how it works?
It's always been that way.
Okay.
The gay alliance has kind of been. They had people who were, of African persuasion, especially when the gay pride started at Wyman Park.
That's where it started.
Yes.
Okay.
And then most major cities, before it became recognized in the nation, most major cities held some kind of event in June to recognize the gay community. And the community started it,
So the community kind of pushed for this national
recognition
in June. Okay.
So
but they actually started celebrating in June themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Most gay pride starts the 1st of June through the end of June. And most cities have their gay pride within that month.
Got it. And so ours here in Baltimore is next weekend.
Yes.
Okay.
The big party at the park is, I think.
Yeah, it's so much next month. You got Pride, you got Juneteenth, you got Father's Day, you got Afram. Why are we who is coming to what? You hear all of that? Father's Day, Afram, Juneteenth, Pride. Why are they all the same day?
Well, it gives you more venues to be out in.
I guess so, but I think that does every venue get the due, get the due population because people are spread so far apart. You know what I mean?
Well, where's Ephraim this year? Is it back at the park?
It's Jewel Hill. So everything will be in that one space.
Well, when they moved it down to the parking lots at the sports arena, I refused to go.
Yeah, and I think people have refused to go.
Every ethnicity has a park or a festival. Why the Black people are the only ethnicity that have to have our park, our festival on a parking lot that's pure concrete where there's not a bit of shade?
You know what?
Used when they said it's going to be at the stadium. So what, inside? No, I'm on the parking lot. I'm like, on the parking lot? You want me to spend the day in the sun on concrete? I don't think I'm going to do that.
That's something to think about. Wow.
Maybe this year I'll go since it's back in the park. And they never could explain why we couldn't have the park for Ephraim. It just that it was not available for us.
Well, it is. The Ephraim is in Jewel Hill Park this year.
I guess I'll go. Since I could get under a shady tree.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this Pride celebration, the cookout or something, or the celebration is in Jewel Hill Park too.
Yeah, that's where it was before.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Okay. So
Park to Druid Hill.
Oh, so now we're gonna have all this going on. It's a lot going on this weekend. My goodness. I love it. I love it.
You can't say you're bored.
Huh.
You can't say you don't have anything to do.
That's true.
And in order to be out and about and meeting people, it's good to have events, especially when the summer's just kicking off.
But I understand, but Juneteenth to me is like something that we should pay homage to our ancestors and our pain. And then it's so many other things going on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. To me, and Father's Day, our father's gonna get the love. Our father's getting the love. Because everything's so pulled apart, but whatever. It is what it is.
Well, if you notice, we're a country that everything gets commercialized. Nothing, if it's not any money flowing in it, then nobody
care about it. That's right.
So there goes Juneteenth being a celebration where you're supposed to spend and collect money instead of realizing what the actual Juneteenth is about.
Yeah.
The people who were last to be freed because they couldn't read and write and nobody was telling them they had their freedom.
Yeah.
The army had to go tell them.
Yeah. So the Union soldiers came down and did the work that even no one would do in the South. So that's unfortunate, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
So
we celebrate Juneteenth.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on. So you've never been closeted. You've had a beautiful out life.
Yes, and even when I experimented, because you think maybe if you're living a life where people are shading you or telling you not to do that, even when I got in relationship with the opposite sex with a man, I clearly let them know I'm into women. So there was no secrets that I'm into.
Did they have any problem with that?
A couple.
Okay.
Yeah. And I knew they weren't the people I needed to be dating.
So why were you dating men? This is interesting.
Well, I thought maybe that if I just tried it.
You like it?
I'm still waiting for the results. Still these many later.
It didn't work. It didn't work.
I'm telling a lie. One time it worked to a point where I was satisfied, but I talked a gentleman who was an older gentleman who just fell in love with me into bringing his girlfriend.
I think that's another show.
Satisfaction along with the girlfriend. So I can't say it wasn't totally successful.
So you said your boyfriend had a girlfriend.
Yes.
And then he brought the girlfriend
of a coworker when I worked at the state, and he met me through her, and he fell in love. He would bring me lunch every day. He started bringing my groceries on Saturday. He knew I was gay. He knew I had a partner. And And he just was determined. He said, you just haven't had the right man. Let me take care of you. So you want to take care of me? I'm not going to say no. And there was no sex involved yet. So, of course, you want to bring the groceries every Saturday? Knock on the door. Well, come on in.
And he could bring his girlfriend with him.
He brought the girlfriend for the sexual interlude because I told him I wouldn't go to bed with him unless she was involved.
Miss Bonnie, you know what? You done started a whole new show.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know why you told me something like that. That's a whole new show. Oh my, we went from QueenDoM to threesome.
Well, she had to agree. So he approached her and she agreed.
Oh, wow.
And then she would show up at my house more than him.
Oh, Miss Bonnie, why you done flip my show like this?
You told me to tell you about my experiences.
I love that. I mean, that's amazing because
I thought maybe if I indulged in sexual activities with men, maybe I wasn't really gay.
Sure.
Maybe I missed something along the way that I didn't get comfortable with men. It wasn't about the comfort. It just is I'm not satisfied with the male sex.
Got it.
After that little experience, I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore to myself to prove to other people that it's okay for me to be gay. I said it's okay for me to be me, So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Was an experience that helped me just center on me and not what people think or what people think they see. I was a state employee for 12 years. A lot of them knew and a lot of them didn't because it wasn't like, hi, I'm Bonnie, I'm gay. Hi, I'm Bonnie, I'm your coworker.
Yes.
That was an experience too because there were women there who would supposed to be married or whatever, find their paths to cross my path. So I'm like, okay, this is not really happening, but it was really happening.
Okay. I'm hearing something. Okay. So that's amazing. And you have tried, as you put it. You've tried and you're not satisfied. I love it.
I was about 28, 27 or 28 years old, almost about to be 30. When you start to go through those decades and you think you kind of laying out your life in front of you.
Yes.
You try to see if the past has been good enough for you to continue on that road or if you need to take turns somewhere. So I was being experimental with my life and trying to see where my life was going to go. And then that definitely let me know that I'm a gay woman.
And but you know what, life is about experimenting, and a lot of times I've heard that too, like you just haven't had the right person.
Yes.
So you went that route and no. Okay.
No.
You're certified. We got it.
Yes.
And it's all good. Okay, so that was something I didn't expect. You kind of blew me. I almost had to change chairs because you blew me out of the chair. I didn't expect that, Miss Bonnie, but I get it. I totally get it. So you're now married.
Yes, I have been married for 28 years.
Wow.
My partner and I, let me see, I have a gay cousin, and my cousin dared me to write her an ad. Remember the city paper?
Yes.
For the city paper. So I wrote one for me and wrote one for her. Okay. She was supposed to put hers in the paper. She put both of them in the paper. So they had this thing where the people call you. And I was like, let me just see if somebody answered. And somebody did. The first 2 calls was somebody I already knew, and I knew not to call them back.
Oh my God.
The second call was a young lady who I agreed to meet. She was nice. She had a lot of baggage. Like wanting to be in the closet. I can't do that. Yeah, so. And then Linda had a coworker. My wife had a coworker. Well, they were playing around with the paper and read it and said, I dare you to call her. And she called. So when I heard her voice, I was like, oh, she sounds nice. So I called her back. We talked on the phone for about maybe 2 or 3 months. And then about the second month in, I asked her to describe herself. So when she said blue eyes, I said, what's your hair like? I have brown sandy hair. I said, are you a Caucasian?
Something else.
I said, oh, okay. We didn't even talk about that. I mean, we were chatting on
So
the
y'all
phone.
were chatting the whole time and you never
Yeah,
knew.
nobody asked, what race are you?
That's how it should be.
Right? So where you like to do? Where do you go? Where do you eat? You know, we did all the conversation, the
All the
normal
get to know
conversation.
stuff.
Right.
Okay.
But where
Hmm.
do you work? You work downtown? I work downtown too. But, you know, we went on like that for about a month. And
Okay.
then when I described myself with dreads, he says, I think I saw you before. So I was like, okay, that's a possibility. We both work downtown. So about the third month in, we met for burgers. And we've been together since, ever since.
Amazing.
Almost instantaneously, like we were very comfortable with each other. You know, I like to talk a lot. She's kind of on the quiet side, so letting me talk a lot.
Okay, that makes sense. So
Yeah,
for
she
those
works in the
years,
parking industry.
okay. That
Yeah.
so how is it being married and like well you say you're not in the closet, so you don't have any problem when you're out with your partner, none of that stuff.
No.
Okay.
When I show up at my family events, before they say hi to me, they say, "Where's Linda?" I said, "Well, Dad, you could say hi to me. I'm your blood." You know. So they have embraced her. Her family has done the same. She has a smaller family. I have a big family on both sides. On my father's side, I might have about 20 first cousins, and on my mom's, it might be about 30 first cousins. But
Whoa.
yeah, her family, her sister and her husband, my brother-in-law, and then she has two nieces. We've traveled together and everything. So it's just good. But
Excellent. 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 That's the biggest thing is being able to share your life with someone you love and
yeah.
you can expand your life with. So that's amazing. All right. So we've heard the gay story. We got the gay story, guys. We're moving on. It's all good. She's a beautiful black gay woman. We're moving on. Okay. So next, I really wanted to talk about during the pandemic, right?
Uh-huh.
During the pandemic, you had a health event. And
Yeah.
can you just because you said you would share that, and I think that's my most inspiring point.
Yeah, I was diagnosed with kidney failure in 2010.
Okay.
Uh, I had no idea anything was wrong with my function. People, anybody listening, if you get a physical checkup at any time in your life, ask them to check your kidney functions because they never check it. And black people, especially, because we carry the two greatest diseases that can send you to dialysis is sugar diabetes and
Yep.
high blood pressure. Those
Absolutely.
two in combination, you eventually will end up in dialysis or you won't be here. So I had no idea anything was going on with my kidneys, you know, just walking around through life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this flu-like symptom. I thought I had the flu, and I picked up all this fluid. And I was like, this ain't normal. But wifey, again, wifey, she said, when I come home in the morning, she was working night shift. If you're not better, you're going to the hospital. When she came home in the morning, I was dressed at the door with my clothes on, ready to go. That's how bad I felt. So the fluid was in my lungs. I couldn't lay down. I had sat up in the recliner half the night because anytime I tried to lay down, I felt like I was suffocating. When I got to the emergency room, they admitted me. I stayed in Franklin Square for 7 days. Had
Wow.
no idea nothing was wrong with my kidneys. My kidneys were totally failed at stage 5. There
Huh?
are 5 stages to kidney failure. The
Yeah.
first 1 through 3 are curable. So
Five.
that's why I tell people get your kidney functions checked because if they catch it early, you don't have to end up on dialysis.
Five
So
is a transplant.
I spent 10 years on dialysis.
Ooh.
I had an offer for a kidney from my sister. I couldn't wrap my spirit and my mind around taking her kidney because once I got in dialysis, I met people who had been there for a while. Some people who had 2 to 3 transplants that didn't stick. So
Really?
for me to take my sister's kidney, if it had not worked, my spirit would not have been right. I wouldn't have been able to love my sister and look her in the eye, knowing that I took a kidney from her, and then I'm still back on dialysis. So I
Wow.
said, no, thank you, you know, and I waited. I waited the 10 years that I was on dialysis. I prayed and I talked to God, and He said, it's time. So the middle of 2000. 13, I started the process. No, it was 16. You have got to go through this whole 6 months of medical tests. They test you from top to bottom to make sure you're going to be able to receive the kidney and get a best outcome. And in the meantime, I was fighting with them to get rid of my hepatitis C, which they wanted me to keep and get a hepatitis C kidney. And I said, no, if I'm going to get a transplant, I want a transplant with the clearest possible healthy way that I can be. So
Sure.
one of my administrators at my dialysis clinic, don't ever underestimate clinical people, got me in a program so that I could take care of that as well. So when I got the call in March
March
of
of what? 2020 or 2021?
2020,
March 20. You know, that's the beginning of the pandemic.
March
March.
15th,
Yes.
March 15th. So I
That's
got
when they call schools. That's
I
the
was
day they,
already home looking at them talking about this COVID and
yeah, they
everything.
call schools that same week.
Yes. So I said, oh my God, I've got a kidney. So I went running to the University of Maryland. A friend of mine picked me up and drove me down there so fast I was scared. Her sister's a pastor. I had her on the phone praying. We driving and praying. So I got the transplant. And the funniest part of that whole experience during the operation, they put you under anesthesia. And just as they took me into the operating room, I saw 2 or 3 people in the corner. And I said, is that my kidney y'all working on over there? And one of the ladies said, yes, ma'am. I said, well, don't answer me. Pay attention to what you're doing over there. I was kind of in of it and out of it. I said, don't mess my kidney up.
I love it. I
So
love it.
I was just saying, Miss Harrid, please start counting. The next thing I know, I was out.
Yeah, she's like, I'm sick of this mouth.
Yeah, they
10,
put me down.
9.
And became the mouth on the sheroes because I'm going to say what I'm thinking and I mean what I say. Eventually, when I came to, the nephrologist came to my room. He said, Miss Harrid, he says, if I had chosen a person to pick to give you a kidney and it was donated from somebody who passed away in an accident or something, he said this person would most likely be related to you because the match was so good that I don't expect any difficulties. And he was right because I have not had one complication, not
I'm looking
one.
at you. You look
Oh God.
amazing.
See God in me.
I'm looking at your skin. You look amazing. You're filtering. You look amazing. I'm telling you, when your kidneys, your eyes aren't yellow. I'm looking at you. You look amazing because when you have problems getting rid of your waste,
Yes.
it goes somewhere. I promise
Yes.
you. You know, and so you look amazing, man. So let me ask you a question because what I want the Black community to pay attention to. We are the highest population, first of all, in dialysis.
Yes.
That's first of all. So we have to find out what is the issues, what the triggers are to do better. Because this dialysis, they're popping up like McDonald's. They're all over the place.
Yes. The symptoms are so slight. And especially for women, what woman don't have a backache here and there? You know, and then they asked me about my urine. I had no discoloration of the urine. Everybody doesn't get that. You know, and at the time I was working at Chesapeake Commons, managing Chesapeake and the new building across the street, and I had a cleaning business. So, you know, my back hurt all the time. You know, I didn't think nothing of it. But I had that flu-like episode, and that was the fluid building up because my kidneys were not functioning.
Exactly.
So
Wow.
I stayed on the dialysis. A lot of people didn't know I was on dialysis. So you don't look like it because I followed the instructions of the people who know what's going on. When they told me to not drink more than 64 ounces of liquid a day, I made sure I did not drink all that liquid. I had already cut out sodas. Black people, please stop drinking soda.
Stop drinking sodas, guys.
Stop drinking. You know, it's poison in a bottle. You know, so I made out that was one of the reasons that I was waiting on deciding whether or not to get the transplant because I did so well on dialysis, you know. And
so what I do want to know was, so you had a good experience because a lot of people don't have a good experience on dialysis. So your experience was pretty good.
Yeah, because basically I didn't have any other besides the diabetes and the high blood pressure, which got under control. I didn't have any other side diseases to battle with. A lot of people have more than just the kidney failure going on. and that makes it even harder for them to deal with it.
You know this person?
I can't see that, Queen. Can you read it?
It says Linda Morgan. I got laid off my job to stay home and take care of her too. She said, "Listen,
Yeah,
I've
she's
been here."
watching from the other room.
Partner.
And she did. She got laid off from the COVID, so we were both in here, you know.
Yeah, and she said,
My house after transplant, I put my house on lockdown because,
really?
yeah, well, you have no immune system when you come
Yep.
out of the surgery. For
Mm-hmm.
about 6 months, you have absolutely no immune system at all. And then you start the rejection meds, which depletes your immune system
Sure.
even more. So I didn't have nobody in but the physical therapist and the nurse who came. And then slowly, as the months went on after that first year, I celebrated, because I had no complications, had no difficulties. I was going to university weekly. It starts out, you go back every week for your blood work, and then it broke down to monthly. And now I do my blood work remotely once a month. I go to LabCorp and my routine blood work. My numbers come back good. I'm good to go. So
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So you have another life.
a new life.
A new life.
New
I
life.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And during a time where this country was chaotic, and you were able to secure a major organ
Yes.
and get it transplanted.
Yes.
Amazing.
It wasn't easy because they were really restricted at the hospital, about visitation and all of that. They did let my wife come in and go back and forth. And then I was ready to get out of there because I'm saying, COVID, y'all got patients in here. I want to get out of here and go home. I don't want to catch COVID in the hospital.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They released me and said, "We have to come back every week." I said, "I don't care. Just
Just
let
let me out.
me go home, please."
And because the same thing, I had Crystal Jackson Parker during that time too.
And we ended up in the same room. We believe
Y'all
we
met each other.
Yep.
Getting
And
transplants.
we believe that we got this kidney. She got one and I got one from the same donor because they don't give you details, but they did say it was a male and he never drank or never smoked and was an accident, vehicle accident that caused his death. And that was the same thing they told her about her donor. And we ended up in the same room next to each other in the bed.
Isn't that something?
She had a transplant before I did, and they took me in the OR after her.
So y'all are twins.
Yeah, we sisters.
I love that. Because I see y'all together, so that it's a real connection.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that was her second kidney, man.
Yes.
And I'm glad she's doing well too. This is an incredible story. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Very beautiful. Wow. Same. And that tells you how God is so amazing, how death can be life.
Yes. From came life.
Literally. Death
And
can be life.
From the transplant, I started losing all this weight. When you saw me out there giving away clothes, it started because I had clothes in my closet that I couldn't wear. Some of them still had the tags on. And I said, I'm not going to get this to the Goodwill because they ain't going to do nothing but put $20 on it and sell it. So I said, I'm going to give away my clothes. And that's what happened. Started giving away clothes. I still do it.
Beautiful. Because I saw that picture you sent me, and them ain't the same shoulders. Them shoulders smaller. Yeah.
On dialysis, I was 210 pounds. Fat girl.
And it laid you out.
Yeah, well, after I got on dialysis, I came down under 200 to about 280. I mean, 180.
Yeah, it's the fluid too. The fluid is heavy.
That was a backup fluid from my
The
kidney.
fluid is heavy. Yeah.
So now
So
I'm
you were
about
bloated. You were bloated.
Yes.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. And just thinking I was fat,
Yeah. So listen, Black people, get you some LFTs, liver function tests, and then that's your hepatic system, and then get you some kidney function tests.
Yes.
You need to know how your hepatic system is working.
And don't wait till they fail because then it's too late.
Remember, she said stage 1, 2, 3,
curable.
It's repairable. It's curable.
Yes.
Stage 4 and 5, you're in dialysis, and by 5, you're gonna need somebody's kidney.
Yes.
And so Please, let's take care of ourselves. So I really wanted to talk about that also. It's like that's amazing during those times, and you're doing so well. You look great. So
Thank you.
keep up the good work. Is there anything you have to do to sustain the kidney?
Well, I do take my rejection meds. I take those twice a day.
Okay.
And I'm on some other medication, that don't have nothing to do with it to control my high blood pressure.
How about
And
food? Do you have to eat a certain diet, drink a certain way?
no more restrictions
No more
on.
restriction. You can drink as much fluid as you want.
Yes.
Okay.
And the first thing I asked for was a large cup of crushed ice.
Really?
I used to eat ice on dialysis because you can't drink a lot of fluid. And a whole cup of ice is a half a cup of water.
Ah, okay.
So you eat the ice till you felt your thirst is quenched. And then
Mm-hmm.
the dietitian taught me to, the pineapple cubes, to just lay them on a tray and freeze them individually and put one in your mouth. Takes the thirst away instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned those little tricks not to, drink the fluid. But now that I have my kidney, I can drink as much as I want. I try to drink mostly water. I like these sparkling ice drinks that have a little fizz with no sugar, zero
Sure.
sugar.
Sure.
But I don't really do a lot of fruit juices because they're full of sugar
And
too.
full of sugar. How about liquor?
No, I can't do that. I do drink a cocktail occasionally for special occasions.
Special occasions. Okay.
Yeah, but that would interfere with my rejection meds. The
So you don't
alcohol.
really indulge in that. Okay.
No. Mhm.
Excellent. Wow. So that's a story that we needed to talk about because definitely our health is our wealth.
Yes. And
And
if you're not healthy, you can't do anything for yourself, let alone anybody else.
that's it. That
Yeah.
that is totally it. That is totally it. So Baltimore, well, you're bred in Baltimore, right? Aren't you a
Oh,
Baltimore
yeah.
breed?
West Side of baby.
West Side. I know that's right. We're in the West Side. Where you come up at?
On Longwood Street, right off of Winchester, Poplar Grove. I saw the beginning of the West Sider marching band. Mr. Pitts was one of our neighbors. His kids, I grew up with his kids.
Okay, so and it's hot over there. It's hot as fire over there.
I went to elementary school on Poplar Grove. I went to Calverton Junior High and then on to Douglas.
On to Douglas. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're Douglas grad. Okay,
Yeah.
so you are definitely a Baltimorean. So as we are in 2022, and you see Baltimore Baltimore is actually changing before our eyes. Gentrification is real.
Yeah.
The misplacement of Africans is real. What we see happening is very real. So what do you think when it comes to the whole gamut? Because you've seen it change. You've seen the history. You've seen the riots. You've seen the uprising. You've seen it all. What do you think about Baltimore?
It's hard to really express in words sometimes because I feel like, I think I mentioned this to you, some of our community keeps this woe is me attitude that I can't really do nothing. But you can, and if you just keep sitting and saying, I can't really do nothing, you will do nothing. So the unification that I'd like to see come together in Baltimore, I pray for it and I pray for it hard and I pray for it continuously. Even among our leaders, even some of our civic leaders.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be the chief and nobody don't want to be the Indians. Everybody can't be the leader, And then my hypothesis is if we all want human rights and equal rights, why aren't we all on the same page? Why aren't we all fighting the same fight? Why is it that your theory of getting there is better than the next man's theory? Why don't you just put the two theories together?
Compromise. That would be lack of pride and lack of ego.
That's right. Leave your ego outside and let's get to job. So I see that and I pray that it can be removed. I don't know how to remove it. The best I can
let me tell you how. Fire all of them. Let's start over. Let me tell you how you remove it. Get rid of them. That's how we're gonna remove it.
Out, let's start over.
Yeah, let's start over. We need a clean slate. Because, well, you can't get rid of leaders that way, but we do need to cultivate our leaders. If
Better
you
than we have been.
Yeah, if you cultivate and you know what the leaders are around you, and you've had some agency with them, and you know how they are, and you know what they've been learning and how they feel about the community, then usually when they get in that space, there's accountability because there's a relationship.
Yes.
But we don't really have relationship with these leaders. They come, they come by like the pimp. They come through, get their cash, gone out.
When it's time to go vote, you'll see them then.
You say, oh, they at church, they everywhere. They got religion, they everywhere. So that's the problem. And we need to cultivate our leaders. So when it comes to like Baltimore and young people and violence and per se where Baltimore is at, how do you feel about that? Because you came up in a Baltimore, I'm sure that wasn't like this.
At all. At all. We could play in our neighborhood and it could get dark. And if your parents say stay on the front, you stay on the front till they call you in. Summertime, it could be 9, 10 o'clock. You'd be outside playing with your neighbor friend. Our children don't even know how to play because they can't go out and play. They remove gym and music from our schools because they might get cultivated. And then I look at the parents, they keep saying, the Baltimore City school system's not pretty good. Why don't you know it's not good? Why aren't you up there finding out what the educational agenda is for the school year? It's available to you.
Wow.
Some of this stuff is a social issue with us and our parenting and the way we live. Nobody wants to talk about that, especially in some of these meetings I go to, and I ask some of these questions about, well, we don't want to snitch on a neighbor, but where did that child come from that just came out in the street with a gun at 14 and killed somebody? He's in somebody's house.
That's true.
You know whose house he came out of. And if you have a child in your house who's in their teens and they bringing you hundreds of dollars every week, you know what they're doing in the street. So don't cry when he gets killed by the police because you could have stopped it. You should stop it. All these children out here in the street, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they got no business outside at that time of night, unsupervised. I keep saying I want them to put parents, hold them accountable. If your child is in the street and doing wrong, maybe not the first time, second time, third time, the fourth time, we're going to hold you responsible for the damage. Whatever he did he crash somebody's car, you got to pay for that. Did he break in somebody's house and steal goods? You got to pay for that. Make the parents responsible for the children. If you don't want to be a parent and legally and morally responsible for the child, what other road is it to make them financially responsible for their children's behavior?
That is a hypothesis that you're putting down, but I have another one on top because, I love the approach because when my mother's generation, and it's always from a discipline spot, like they're not being disciplined. They hold a parent, but discipline the parents, or I'm gonna knock them across the room. It's all about the discipline. But what I would like to say is the family has changed because there's so much drugs in our community. There's so much, early removement of parents.
The drugs have always been there. I ended up being an addict.
These are some new drugs, though. These synthetic drugs we deal with, these pills now, sis, they on a whole new road. I'm telling you, y'all had drugs, but this is super drugs we got. That dope and these pills out here now. Ow! You see what you see the degradation of our community.
Yeah, I do.
And crack, when crack came in the 80s, it killed Black people. It disseminated us. And not only did it disseminate us, it disseminated our families.
Yes, that was
mothers were on the street, fathers were on the street, and then at some point they were either in rehab or they were in jail. Crack disseminated our families, and I tell people now we got crack. These are the crack babies, 80 to 20. Now they 20, and you wonder why they're so out of control because this is the manifestation of drugs, of how our system has allowed this type of degradation because the crack parents, they either died or in jail, but now we have their children.
The grandparents raised the children, and they tired from raising the crack head.
And some of them didn't even get raised by grandparents. They just got raised by the world.
Yeah, whoever.
And look what we got now. And we see why we have these violent children, because they never had structure. They've never had structure. So then you go to hold the parents and like you said, let's hold the parents accountable. The parent is in MCI.
Most
Who are
likely.
you holding accountable? Grandma trying to keep 7 kids because 3 of her kids, 2 getting high and 1 in jail. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
That formula doesn't work now.
It's the social structure of our community that's got messed up. And I mentioned this to you before. It started with the government saying we're going to give you a check and food stamps. Ooh. Then your husband can't be in the house if we give you assistance. They broke the family down on purpose, Queen. It wasn't accidental.
It is on purpose. It's on purpose. But you know, food stamps were meant for white people. We were just giving them. But food, that social system was set up for poor white people. I want people to understand. We always think that it was black. They trying to give us food. No, they don't care if we starve. For 30 years, if I'm not mistaken, and please don't quote me, I think it's 20 or 30, we could not even get food stamps, I think, to 1940. Yeah, to 1940 is when we were able to access food stamps, and they have been here for 20 or 30 years.
But when they realized it was a control mechanism.
Yes.
Because as far as breaking down the family. Even if you're a mother who had an adult son, you get kicked off your food stamps if it's an adult male living in the house. Why was that rule put in place? Because they didn't want you to have a family structure. They wanted to destroy the family structure. And you destroy the family structure by removing the fathers, which makes the mother struggle. And while she's struggling, she can't pay attention to her children. It's important.
I hear you. So we got Denise Goodson. She said, why are children in high school not reading and parents not know? Children should be reading 2nd and 3rd grade. These are the things that's going on in our community. Children in high school not reading. Thank you, Ms. Goodson. I mean, and she's going off. She said drugs and immature children having children. Ms. Goodson she coming for everybody.
Good. That's my sister.
Okay. Go ahead, Miss Denise. I hear you.
We come from the same cloth, you know what I mean?
Y'all come, but she is hot right now. She's coming. She said juvies downtown can wave to dad and uncles at the penitentiary. That's a shame.
They can. As they walk the street.
Right off the street. You know what? I was down by Greenmount. It was a girl visiting her boyfriend. He was in the jail and they were talking from the jail to the Greenmount. I said, man, this is what we doing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's just a lot. It's a lot. So, and Baltimore has a lot going on, and I'm trying to understand, how did we get here? It had to be this Baltimore City government is culpable. You cannot get here without systems in play. Am I correct or am I wrong?
You're correct, but that doesn't mean we have to participate. That's why I say some of us are willing slaves. We're willing to put $200 on our children's feet, but you didn't go to school to see what the school curriculum was. You're going to buy them chicken box every Friday night, but you won't give them money to go for lunch. The social part of it is the part that I'm talking about that can be corrected by us changing the way we behave as human beings.
That's true. That's true. That's
true. And to correct that, like you said before, knowledge is power. You know, if you didn't learn how to be a parent, it's not too late. If you have children, it's not too late.
It is not too late. Get some classes, right?
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. We got mothers and fathers got to go to the schoolhouse. We got to see what's going on there. Because when you give somebody your child, just think, if your child was being babysitted by one of your crazy cousins, you call every minute. What y'all doing?
But you send them to school with people you don't even know, and you don't check.
And then you let them go to school and you don't even check. How can you trust these people with your children? You know what Malcolm X said? If they don't treat you right, they ain't gonna teach you right.
Nope.
Be careful where you leave our greatest thing is our genius, our children. And so I tell people, if you won't leave them with Boo Boo and Nene, why are you leaving them with Mary and Allison? Watch them.
I was in the 3rd grade and the teacher was showing a film and I was bored. So while the film was going on, I rocked in the chair and marked up the wall. They suspended me. My mother was furious. She had to leave work, come to school, get me. Then I had to stay home. Then when she took me back, I remember the teacher's name, Miss Owens. My mother took me to the classroom, bent me over her knee gently, pulled up my little skirt and spanked me on my behind, on my panties, and told the teacher, if I act up again, this is what she's to do. She gave her permission to spank me. I didn't act up again until I got to Calvert. That one little demonstration lasted a good little while.
If you touch these children now, you're going to jail.
In my place.
Yeah, you can't touch them now. You touch them now, you're going to jail.
No, if you spank them, they tell you you're going to jail. But when the police come, pack their bags and let them take them too. You got to draw the line in the sand somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the police department running your household, or you running your household?
Okay. I love when I get these stances.
Discipline starts from the cradle. You don't wait till they 10 and then tell them no. You tell them no when they 2.
But the cradle is compromised. That's what I'm trying to get my people to understand, that the cradle ain't no cradle anymore. These kids are really, they don't have structure. Their household is chaos. They might not even have parents.
Addiction. They're born in addiction too.
Yeah, and they're born in addiction. And we forgot about this lead problem Baltimore has.
Whew.
We haven't even talked about the behaviors from lead and the trigger from bad food. And I'm not blaming everything else, but there's a lot in the play with when we see the breakdown and the violence that we've seen in the community. Yes. And so I just wanted to get your take because you lived in a different Baltimore.
It was a lot better because even when I wasn't supposed to be out in the street, I would sneak out. But I wasn't fearful. Like now I'm a grown woman and I'm very careful and cautious about my surroundings, especially when I'm in Baltimore City and my head's on swivel because I want to know what's going on around me,
Absolutely.
But no, it was a better, gentler Baltimore in those days. You could let your kids run free a little bit, and not worried if they were going to be killed in the corner store. A lot of on Poplar Grove, they had this bar they called the Bucket of Blood because every weekend somebody be getting knifed around there, but they weren't dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bucket of Blood. Lord have mercy.
On the bridge, and they used to fight. It was 2 bars on the bridge, one on one end and one on the other end. When the bar let out, they would fight around there.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So I never heard of that. What bridge is that?
Right as Bentlow, you know where Poplar Grove and Bloomingdale split?
Yes.
On Poplar Grove, about 2 blocks up. I think one bar is still a cut rate now, but the other bar is probably closed.
Oh man, no, that's a whole different day because
people would fight. They might knife each other, but it was rare to hear somebody got shot. The new introduction of the guns, the new introduction of the high price, cheap drugs, the new introduction of the crack cocaine, which was introduced to fuel a war, the Contra War.
Absolutely.
They showed the Californians how to cook crack. People were already freebasing. But they showed them how to cook it in bulk and sell it. And then the world just went crazy.
Synthetic drugs is everywhere.
Yeah.
So, so let me ask you another question. So what is your hope for Baltimore at this point? What do you hope to see?
I hope to see more attention, like you said, you're in a program with the kids. Yes. Paid to the children because they are the future and they have been neglected. They're in bad situations because of our lack of taking care of things before they even got here.
All day.
Even a thought in their mamas and daddies' minds.
That's it.
They're being born into a world that's not fit for children. It really, they live in a war zone. If you go in the average classroom and ask anybody who's seen a dead body, over 50% of those little hands will come up. And most of the time, like you say, it's some relative of their own that's been killed. So they are traumatized, and you would expect them to be traumatized. But then you want to put them in a classroom with no air, no circulation. Teacher might be somebody they met yesterday, and then it was another teacher last week. And then there's no actual curriculum. I don't think. I don't know. I'm glad I don't have kids. I'm really happy that I didn't have kids,
Okay.
because so that just adds another burden to your responsibilities, especially in the world we live in now, because there's safety. The
Yes.
safety is
Yes.
not guaranteed. They're killing them in the schools. You can't go to church. You can't go to the corner store. So where are they supposed to go? I'd like to see more rec centers open,
Okay.
because there's for the poor little children who want to do right, it's nowhere for them to be.
That's
They're
true.
not all bad eggs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them just need some extra guidance, some extra attention. They're
Yes.
not going to get it from home. And if you leave it to the streets, the attention they're going to get is going to be all negative. So
Wow.
I
Well,
really would like to see them do more programs like that. Like I said, my first very job in my life was a neighborhood youth corps. I don't know if you know what that
what's
is.
that? Tell us what
It
that
was
is.
an organization. Well, it was an organization before Manpower,
Mm.
where they take youth and give them a job. So I got a job with the neighborhood youth corps for the summer and got that paycheck. And then they also followed you to school too, because at the end of my school, I was at Coppin State College in a pre-college course.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually still registered at high school, but working at Coppin and going to pre-college classes in the evening.
Oh, interesting. It's some
Yeah.
things we can employ to actually, because working with these young people, I hear their answers when we talk to them, and it's all from a trauma space.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to really, really kind of peel back some of the trauma. That's first,
Yeah.
and then have engagement that so they can grow and feel better about their lifestyles, their life. And young people is the ticket.
Yes.
But some of the issues, though, some of these older folk, though, we need some help too. We need some therapy. It need to be couches on every corner. Sit down here and sit down talk. I mean, it's just, I think Baltimore is a beautiful city. I am an implant, but I love Baltimore. I've been here. I have so much hopes for Baltimore. And I really hope that we don't lose Baltimore from this, because our population is actually waning.
Yeah.
This census is actually decreased markedly. I think we're down to 50 something percent, 57 or 58, if I'm not mistaken. Baltimore should not be there. And so I want us also to listen, buy some property. Baltimore is going to change. Invest in some property. If you want to have a seat at the table, you need to have some resources. So
Yes.
so I think that would help a lot too. But before we get out of here, I got to know what's behind you. What is that?
That is my poster from the Shiro days.
Oh, that's the Shiro.
Yes. Miss Janice West and Siv Jones were a part of the Shiro team. And we used to do public things with Larry. He had that made up for us.
I
And we
love
would
that.
do Christmas giveaways at the Afro to collect toys for Christmas with Miss Santa. So he made that up for us. And when we broke up, nobody wanted it. I said, I'm keeping it then. I'm not going to let this get thrown away.
That's really nice. I like it. Yeah, it looks like a mural or something. I'm looking back, and then I see the color and the black and the white is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had to know what that is. So listen, we have been here for an hour, and listen, I'm very, very, very thankful for this conversation.
You're
Um,
welcome.
we went through everything. We touched on it all. We touched on the gay. We touched on transplant. We touched on Baltimore. But
Yes.
more than anything, we really, it felt like a community. I felt like you're my auntie.
Uh-oh. Well,
Absolutely, it feels like that.
one thing, I hope somebody can pick up on this. I made an arrangement with the young lady who has the store Love is Love, the gay apparel store.
Okay.
And I wanted to give out her address. And this Sunday, she's going to give special offers to anybody who comes in and shops in my name. All they have to do is say Bonnie or Lady B.
Okay. Well, let's put that in the hemisphere. What's that address?
The address is
Is she,
1001 39th Street in
is it
Hampton.
black owned?
Huh? Black owned, of course.
Black
This is
owned. Okay.
the
Because
only
that area ain't many. Don't act
huh?
like there's a lot of black owned over there, Miss
It's only one. She's the only one. That's why I'm touting her. She's in
Wow.
QueenDoM on 39th and Roland Avenue. The address is 1001 36th Street. And it's on the side of the building. You'll see the rainbow colors on her side of her building. But she has apparel. She even has gay apparel for the for her pets if you have dogs.
Oh, okay.
And she's just a nice store, and all of the cards are original. She's over 4,000 different cards written by her. So go to 1001 39th Street on this coming Sunday and say Lady Bay sent me or say Bonnie sent me, and she'll give you some special offers.
That's 6/20.
No.
22.
That's the date?
Sunday's the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. She told me Sunday.
It's a Sunday. If you go by Love is Love on 39th, 1001 39th Street, 39th and Roland, say Bonnie or Lady B, and you get a discount. Is that how it's going down?
Yes, that's how it's going down.
I like that. I like that. Miss Love is Love. We got to have you on.
She willing.
Yeah. Oh, no. Actually, that's the 19th. So that's June 19th.
That's Juneteenth. Oh, yeah.
Juneteenth. That's Juneteenth. Yeah. So specials. Okay. So I'm going to put that in the chat.
All right. Good.
Yeah. So what is her name? The owner.
Marva Laws.
Okay. Love is love, guys. Check her store out. Go get some good discounts. All you got to say is you've seen or Lady B. That's how much pull she got out here.
Well, she's been one of my great sponsors on different things that I do. So I always include her when I'm doing something public. But I always ask permission first about the discounts. I don't want to dip into
no trouble, right?
Yeah, I want to be able to go there and get my little special discounts too, So if you just mention my name, she'll give you some special discounts Sunday.
Wow, that's beautiful. Let me ask the last thing. It's not an answer. It's not a question. I want to hear your jewel. What are you going to leave with the people? We're almost out of here, so leave a jewel with the people.
Mean what you say and say what you mean.
That's it. That's it.
And just be genuine. You won't have problems if you just be yourself and be truthful to yourself.
Be yourself, be genuine.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. Miss Bonnie, listen, I totally appreciate you coming in.
No problem. Look, you said 15 years. It hadn't been that long, but you did ask several times. So I finally decided to say, let me just say yes, because she ain't going to stop asking.
No. Ask anybody who know me. I'm very persistent when I want to get to you. I don't stop. Because I want Black people to see that it's so much. We're not a monolith. There's so many of us. And we're all doing different things. We look different. We walk different. We talk different. But we got the same. We got the same culture, and we need to be able to see each other. When you need
to be able to see people who thrive through difficulties. We didn't talk about the drug addiction.
Absolutely. That's what I want to move into next. I want to talk to some folks who are in NA or people who have been through something. I
say that was the greatest accomplishment of my life was to kick heroin.
You didn't, Miss Bonnie, you wait to the end. Really?
We didn't talk about that, but when you do the drug series, have me come back.
Absolutely, but you got a lot of extras you came up with. The heroin, then you told me about the threesome. You done throw some stuff on me tonight. Why are you doing all of that?
Well, I just put it like this. If God decides he wants me home in the morning, I have left no stones unturned.
See, you don't owe me nothing. You done laid it all out on mic. I love it. We appreciate you. Please keep being an advocate for the community. I can't wait to see you again so I can hug your neck. I can't wait to see you again. Listen, let's stay linked. I really, really appreciate your honesty, your transparency, and opening up your life to my Black boxes. And thank you to, what's your partner, Ms. Linda Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Linda Morgan, bless you also for allowing you to lay it all out here. And
y'all keep praying for her because I'm not easy to live with. and at least I admit it and know it.
Ms. Linda, I'm praying for you, sister. So listen, we're gone, Black boxes. We boxed up and out. Can I get some deuces?
Deuces.
Deuces. Good
Yes.
night, guys. Don't go nowhere, Lady B.
It was fun. Thank you.
You don't go nowhere. Good night.